before I jump into Topper's decision, I want to focus on what I believe the number one reason they lost this World Series is. The number one reason the Phillies lost this World Series is because they didn't hit. And all year long, we've been talking about how this Phillies team needs to mash. And then all of a sudden, Zach Wheeler started having a great year. Aaron Nola started having a great year. He started to get some pitching. Ranger Suarez started to look like a legit number 3 starter at times, maybe a number 2 starter in a good rotation. You traded for Syndergaard, you get Kyle Gibson. Going throughout the season, he had himself like a couple of good months, couple of good weeks he strained together, he put together. That was good. But then at the end of the season, he just went in the tank. I mentioned many times his 9 ERA in the month of September. But as the season went on, you started to see the pitching start to come around a little bit. And you're thinking, oh, maybe you don't need to mash as much as you thought at the start of the year. And then the playoffs started. Oh, and then you started to hit. Then you really started to get hot. And that's where he thought we can ride these bats again. Bryce Harper, to me, would have the biggest influence on this World Series and whether or not the Phillies were going to win it. He wasn't the Phillies MVP type player in this World Series. I think we can all understand that. But he was also far from the 1 for 36 that the law firm of Hoskins, Real Muto, and Castellanos combined for in the World Series. Here's what I'll say, in the last 3 games. The thing that gets me is that Real Muto helped win you, if not won you, game 1 of this series. So I can at least look at him and say that. You at least won me that game. And you at least played great defense in this World Series throughout. However, Hoskins, Castellanos, Real Muto in the last 3 games, 1 for 36. 1 for 36. And the other thing you can say about Castellanos is in the 3-2 game, the second out of the inning, he put on the wall, and that Chas McCormick fella, climbed the wall and made the catch on what at least would have been a double in a 1-1 ball game in the bottom of the 9th inning. 1 for 36. The Phillies, and shout out to Corey Simon of NBC Sports Philly, buddy of mine, who put it out there on social media that the Phillies, and wrote a story about it, the Phillies bats in the last 30 innings of that World Series. The Phillies bats, all of them, hit 0.92. They hit 92. Not like 900. They didn't hit 900. No, they hit .092 in the last 30 innings of baseball. And that ain't going to get it done. I don't care who's on your mound. That ain't going to get it done, especially if there's only 3 runs on the other side. That should be topped by this team with these bats. It was not. If you would have told me the Phillies got no hit in a World Series, albeit a combined no-hitter, whatever, they didn't get any hits. I don't care what you want to term it, how you want to look at it. Bottom line is they didn't get any hits in a game in a World Series. With that being said, if you would have told me before this series that Wheeler, Nola, 2 Nolas, and a Wheeler, if you would have told me that you would have 3 starts by those 2 guys that were absolute poop shows, okay? If you would have told me that, I would have said, no way. That's impossible. If you would have told me that the Phillies would have been no hit, I would have been like, I'll believe that over those guys having 3 consecutive bad starts for themselves. 3, Nola twice and 1 with Wheeler. I would not have believed that he would have gotten 3 bad starts from those guys. Now, Wheeler in his second start in the World Series of Game 6 totally redeemed himself. And now that brings me to our man, Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson's big reason, maybe the biggest, you can make an argument that he's the biggest reason the Phillies are back in the world. Or the Phillies, made that second half push after Girardi was let go and they turned the season around. You could definitely make the argument because it's so definitive that that's when they turned their season around, when they got rid of Girardi and they had Rob Thompson take over everything. You could definitely make that argument. Regardless of strategy and the tactician that he was, whatever he did in that clubhouse, whatever mood or atmosphere he installed, it totally changed. And they became this different ball club. They started playing to their potential. But the buttons that he pushed usually worked. They did not work in this World Series.